Hello and welcome to livealittlehigher.com. This week we read Parashah Lech Lecha, a very happy parasha. We begin with our forefather Abraham and we end with our forefather Abraham. And also I like to start teaching this parasha by thanking Hashem that 24 years ago on a Wednesday morning of this Parashah Lech Lecha, my husband said to me while we were having breakfast, he says, Margie, don't ask me why, I don't have a reason, I don't know what happened to me, I never thought about it, but I woke up today and I feel I have to start keeping Shabbat. I need to become Shomer Shabbat. So I looked at him and I was scared. I said, okay, I don't know what you're saying, but I'm not ready for this commitment. And he said to me, don't worry, it's me, I woke up this morning, I need to become Shomer Shabbat. And I said to him, okay, I will help you, I will guide, I will make the house comfortable for you so you can keep Shabbat. And that's how we started. I would say like around 8 months later, I saw he was having such a good time on a Saturday that he was not driving or working or doing anything, any melaha, that he was just like going to the synagogue and having lunch at home and reading and resting, that I said, like, I also have to become Shomer Shabbat. He looked so happy. I was like this mom that never stopped driving and taking her kids everywhere. And at that moment I said, you know what, me too. I'm also becoming Shomer Shabbat. Then my kids, they were teenagers at that time, and so they decided, I said, I'm not gonna push them. I let them be, and little by little they just saw the joy that we had while keeping Shabbat, the peace and the harmony in the house, and little by little each one of them decided that they also were gonna keep Shabbat. So who would have known 24 years ago that Live a Little Higher would exist, that I would be giving parasha classes every week and other classes. Thank God I teach 18 classes a week. I have many students, and I never in my whole life imagined that I would ever end up teaching Torah. I had no idea. I had zero idea about Torah. I didn't know anything. I was very traditional Jew, but I was very ignorant. So look where it took me. So I want to teach today the parasha with a siha of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, where he explains this phrase, which the Torah portion begins with, where it says that the Eternal said to Abram, "Go for your own good from your land, from your birthplace, and from your father's house to the land that I will show you." So imagine that one day God tells you, like, go where I'm gonna show you, and you're like, where am I going? No, just go. But really, that phrase really means like go to yourself, go to who you really are. This is one of the interpretations that we can have from that phrase. Go to who you really are, and then I'll show you who you are. And so the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, he says that the masters, the sages, teach that a person who observes a mitzvah because he's commanded to do so is greater than one who observes it without having been commanded. Like we would think, oh, from my own free will I decide to do something, then I'm greater than a person that is being commanded to keep a Torah mitzvot. My husband said, I'm going to become Shomer Shabbat. It didn't come from his heart, from saying, I decided I'm going to do this for God. It says this is one of the 10 commandments where we're commanded to keep Shabbat. So the sages teach that a person that keeps a commandment because Hashem told him to do it, not because of his own desire, it is greater than a person that does things because he wants to do them. So the word mitzvah and the word savta, which means connection together, share the same root. And when a person fulfills a divine commandment because he has been commanded to do so, the act connects him to God in an infinite way. Where by contrast, if the person performs the same deed, like he would keep it because he wants to keep it, because it comes from his desire to do it, without being commanded, then it only remains a good deed. So this is one of the reasons why Abraham didn't do his circumcision until Hashem asked him to do it when he was 99 years old. He kept all the Torah, even though the Torah had not been given yet. He knew the laws and the halachas, and he kept kosher, and he didn't mix milk and meat, and he put tefillin. Obviously, not the tefillin we know today. Was like these straps of leather, and he said the prayers. So they basically kept the commandments. But he waited till God asked him to do the Brit Milah, the circumcision, because he wanted to have that infinite bond with Hashem. So he says that this is implied by the command, go out, go, Lech Lecha, and Abraham was commanded to travel beyond his limited frame of reference and establish an unlimited connection to God. By doing so, he defined the constantly flowering nature of the link between God and the Jewish people for all time. So Abraham was the one that paved the way for the Jewish people. He already journeyed the journey that each one of us, through our lifetimes, have to go through. And our connection to God is not dependent on our love or understanding of Him, or if it's a comfortable thing to do, or it's something that is in fashion, or it's the cool thing. Our connection to Him comes from a response to His initiative. He tells us, do this, don't do that, and we respond. And that's free will. That's the free will that we have, that we can choose to do this or not do this, to do what God desires from us or not do what God desires from us. So our rabbis underscore this concept, stating that Abraham's service anticipated the bond with God made possible for everyone by the giving of the Torah. So he was the one that opened the gates of every Jew being able to connect to God. So Lech also means to proceed. Lech Lecha, go, proceed, referring to beginning this journey. And this concept is alluded in the Torah's description of Abraham continuing on his way. And he did it steadily, progressively, in the direction that God told him to go, which was actually, He was taking him to the land of Canaan, which was where Jerusalem stands. So real spiritual progress requires that one leaves one's current state behind. If a person wants to grow spiritually, he cannot stay comfortable. The only way that a person can grow in any area of his life if he gets uncomfortable. So for example, if a person wants to build muscle and he starts going to the gym, at the beginning, it's always gonna be uncomfortable, because it's gonna hurt, it's not easy, you're not used to it, but continuously doing something to be able to grow is what makes us grow. Rabbi Twersky, he tells a beautiful analogy of the lobsters, that he was once sitting in a dentist's office, and he was waiting for his appointment, and he took a National Geographic magazine, and there was a whole article about lobsters. And lobsters are these crustaceans. They're very soft animals, and when they're born, they're given, like, they grow a cáscara, they grow a body, a hard body outside of their body, and they're inside of that hard body, but when they start growing, that hard body becomes small for them. So they have to break it, and they break through it, and it's a very painful process for the lobster. And then he is in a state of vulnerability, where his soft body is not being protected by the hard body, and he's in that stage for a while until his new hard body grows for him. And it says that that process is very, very hard for the lobster, but nevertheless, when we are expanding ourselves, when we're in a growth mode, when we're in an expansion mode, it is not easy. It's hard. I tell you, when we started keeping Shabbat, it was not easy. It was hard. It was completely different to everything we've done all our lives. But once you get into it, it takes you to another level and another level and another level. So our connection to God is not dependent on our love or our understanding or our belief. It comes from our working into building that relationship through doing things that Hashem desires us to do. So the real spiritual progress requires that one leaves one's current state behind. Yet as long as an individual's growth depends entirely on his own power, his progress will be limited. Nobody can exceed the bounds of his own understanding. So the same is when you do your workout by yourself, you're going to be doing it till here. But if you get a trainer, that trainer is going to make you do 20 more push-ups, 20 more sit-ups, 20 more this, 20, and you're ready to faint. And he tells you 10 more and 10 more, and he's going to push you to the limit, to the point where you didn't even realize that you have that ability. And when, by contrast, when progress is guided by God, there are no limits to the potential of growth. During the last weeks, a lot of stories have come out from the survivors of the Nova Festival and of Israel that had been held hostages for, I don't know, 2 years. And they're all talking and talking and talking. And one thing that really has hit me very hard is that they only talk about God. It's incredible that a person that is 2 years, 41 days inside of a cage, inside of a tunnel, the only thing he talks about is God. And they tell you, if you take the time to listen to them, they're all over YouTube and Instagram, all over, with their stories, you'll see how in these dark places, in the darkest of the darkest dungeons, that was the place where they could tap into that God reality. So the Torah and the mitzvot can take a person far beyond his natural horizons. To accentuate this point, God tells Abraham to proceed to the land which I will show you, without telling him where he's going. So with these hostages, one of the things that really is incredible is that the interviewers asked them, where did you get your strength from? How were you able to keep the calm? How were you able to be in a place like that and just find that connection to God? And they all say, it's because God gave me the connection. He was there with us. He gave us the strength. He was there. They could feel him. Every day he showed him kindness. And so this is what it's telling us here. Like, this is an extreme situation, but we in our daily lives, with our daily problems, if we tap into that reality that Hashem guides us and Hashem takes us and Hashem shows us the way, and we have bitachon, we have trust in Him, and we let go of our fears, and we let go of I can't. You know, you're going to see Hashem is going to take you to a place that you never imagined you were able to come to. So the expression, I will show you, areka in Hebrew, can also be rendered, I will reveal you. Through the journey to the Eretz Israel, Abraham's true self was revealed to him. And this is also indicated by the expression Lech Lecha, which literally means go to yourself, to your essence. And so Abraham's willingness to put his individual will, this is what he did, that was incredible. Like, he took away his will, he didn't act on his will, it was not about him, it's not what he wants, it's not what he thinks, it's what God is asking him to do. And in that process, then he unleashed a potential that was that he didn't even know he had. And this is something that we all have. We all have this capacity to tap into the godly reality of the world. And when we tap into the godly reality of the world, then there's no limits. Not even that phrase that says the sky is the limit. Not even the sky is the limit. There's no limits. And this is the essence of every man's spiritual journey, to transcend his ordinary way of thinking and to tap into the godly way of thinking. So he says, as we proceed through life, each of us is given the chance to discover who he is and what God is, and that the two are one. This year, I experienced a health setback. In January, I had something called Bell's palsy, and this half of your face gets paralyzed, and it has been a journey. It has been very challenging. Thank God I look normal again, but it's been a journey of Lech Lecha, of getting out of my skin and being in a very uncomfortable place. But the amount of potential that came out of this, and also I got to really know myself. I really got to know how strong I am, how positive of a person I am. Like, if sometimes you're never put to a challenge, you can never know what you have inside. So it says that in the course of one's spiritual travels, a person encounters situations which can only be overcome with a struggle, and which may even cause one to fall. And you know what? It's okay. You can fall. You can fall because Hashem will catch you. And since all phases of life's journeys are guided by divine providence, you see the hand of God in everything, then we must realize that the purpose of every experience is a positive experience. There's nothing that comes from God that is negative. The only thing that is negative is our perception of the reality. And when we see that everything is an opportunity to bring you to a place, a new place, a higher place of your being, then you're going to be able to take everything that happens to you in life in a way that you're just like this person that is discovering the world, and he's discovering himself. And as the sages say, that the reason a person descends is for the ascent. So why must a person face such challenges? And some people really have very hard challenges. I'm not diminishing challenges in life. I tell you, I went through this thing, and I really tapped into a different dimension of empathy towards people, and I feel very much for other people's pain, especially when they're paralyzed. It's a very tough situation, and I'm not diminishing anybody's struggles, but what the Rebbe is telling us here is that there is a reason for these struggles, and he gives two. One is to bring out the power of one's soul. As long as a person remains untested, he can get by without having to tap his core. Until you're not tested, you're not going to bring out those resources, those treasures that you have within you, that if they're not needed, they're not going to be used. And so when, by contrast, one faces a fundamental challenge, it becomes necessary to call upon one's spiritual resources in order to succeed. And B, in the process of overcoming that challenge, a person recognizes and does elevate the spark of godliness that is contained within him. And you know what? Abraham had a very challenging life. He had tremendous challenges. He escaped Nimrod. He almost burned him in the fire because he was destroying idols where he lived. His wife couldn't have babies till she was 90. He had to move from one place to another. He experienced famine. He almost sacrificed his only son, his beloved son, in the altar, in the Akedah. He went through a lot, but we see that through each challenge that he experienced, he became Abraham. He started as Abram, and then this Hey was added to his name, and he became Abraham. So Abraham's spiritual journey contains such challenges, And it says that shortly after he entered the land of Israel, he was forced to descend to Egypt, to Mitzrayim, and Mitzrayim means boundaries, and it was a very unholy place, a very corrupted place, and he had to go there because there was famine. And in going there to Egypt, he not only passed the test, but he came out very rich. He became very, very wealthy, so he left better than he came. So a person's spiritual quest should not be a lonely journey, the Rebbe teaches. On the contrary, one of the hallmarks of personal development is an increasing capacity to inspire others. So that's why you see there's so many help groups, and people get together to give each other hisuk, to give each other strength in life. And we're not meant to suffer alone. It says when you share a pain, it becomes half a pain. And here what the Rebbe is specifically addressing is that when a person is being challenged and he's growing in this challenge, he cannot leave this growth to himself. This growth is meant to be there to inspire other people in their challenges, and eventually these people too will inspire other people. So this concept is also reflected in the changing of his name from Abram to Abraham, and Rashi explains that Abram implies merely father of Aram, while Abraham alludes to the Hebrew word meaning father of many nations. And Abraham was actually the father of many nations. He had two sons. One was Ishmael and the other one was Isaac. And after Sarah died, he remarried Keturah, who was the concubine, and Hagar. And then with her, he had many sons. They say most of them ended in India and in China, but basically they come from him. And a lot of people come from Abraham, especially monotheist religions come from Abraham. So Abraham was given this name in connection with the mitzvah of circumcision. When God asked him to do the Brit Milah, this hey to his name Abram was added, and that demonstrates that our spiritual quest is not an attempt to escape worldly reality, but it's rather an attempt to refine reality. Circumcision represents a covenant in the flesh and endows even our physical bodies with sanctity. So the above concepts enable us to appreciate why the promise of the land of Israel to Abraham and his descendants is mentioned in connection with circumcision. Circumcision reflects the unification of the spiritual and the physical in one person, while the relationship between Eretz Israel reflects the unification of spirituality and physicality in the whole world. And so, in this sense, the attainment of physical Eretz Israel represents the culmination of Abraham's journey. Obviously, we haven't fulfilled our journeys, and until every Jew doesn't fulfill his journey and the world doesn't come to the perfection that God intends it to have, then we won't have the land of Israel until Mashiach comes. So Lech Lecha remains an ongoing mission for all Abraham's descendants until coming of Mashiach. And we have to understand that every time that we come to a point where we have to get out of our comfort zone, it is a Lech Lecha moment. It is a Lech Lecha moment. You have to move from one city to another. You have to change your job. Suddenly you're getting married or you're having children. Every change in your life is a Lech Lecha moment. So I want to give you a blessing that every Lech Lecha that you do in your life, you do with joy, with good health, and that you are empowered to find that amazing person that you're inside, that amazing person that God created, that you're able to see it. Because sadly, I see it every day. Many people are incredible people, but they don't see how incredible they are. So may you see yourself as a descendant of Abraham, as a child of God, and God created everybody with incredible potential. It's infinite, because when you tap to your potential, you're tapping into God. And when you tap into God, then there's no limit. So remember, live a little higher. Thank you.